So many people at the beaches right now. We have had, one round of showers that came through this morning. It hasn't really been a day where people, I think, are outside at the beaches so much. But if you know someone that is or is, perhaps unaware of what is happening, really good idea to give them a call, because we're watching this very strong wind and possible, tornado here making its way toward Hyannis very soon, probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. And from there, it will continue to shift eastward. So we do have this tornado warning that is in effect until 12:15 here for parts of the Mid-Cape. And we've zoomed in really tight because this area right here is where we have the very strong winds. I mean, we've had ground confirmation of wind gusts to 58 and even close to 70 miles per hour in the vicinity of this storm. And right here, this is the very strongest wind indicated by the radar right here. And you can see the trajectory of where this is going to be. It's going to continue to make its way on toward the east right here. So you can see a lot of beaches going to be impacted by these very strong winds in just the next few minutes or so. Let's widen out the view and show you the motion on this. And if you're not in this particular area, you may be concerned because you've been dealing with a lot of heavy rain. You perhaps have had a little bit of lightning coming on through, and the rainfall has been tremendous. So as Kellyanne mentioned, it doesn't take a lot, perhaps, for some of these trees to get uprooted and cause some problems and experience some damage. But right now, the strongest core of the winds and the rotation, you can very clearly see it. Oftentimes, it isn't this apparent and this visible, but in this particular situation, we have been able to track this for hours now, and we will continue to track it as it makes its way on toward the east. So now radar indicated the core of these winds up over 70 miles per hour, 77 miles per hour. Certainly, that would do a lot of damage if it came down to ground level. So we are talking about some intense winds here and the possibility of damage. We can track this for you. It's moving toward West Harwich and South Yarmouth. So here are the times if you're in these communities. You can see Hyannis just in the next minute or two. And then as you make your way towards South Yarmouth, it's going to be just after noontime, and West Harwich at about 12:13. So in the next 15, 20 minutes or so, a lot of these communities are going to be impacted. And that tornado warning, as you can see, covering a large portion of the Cape right now. So if you are east of this area, anticipate that this situation is heading your way after this tornado warning expires at 12:15. This is likely going to persist through at least about 12:30 this afternoon until this circulation moves offshore. Not seeing a ton of lightning with this at this point. We've had a couple of strikes here around Sandwich, but you might be hearing that thunder in the distance. You might be seeing the lightning. These strikes that we show you here on our imagery typically are showing you cloud to ground strikes. A lot of what we saw last night on Cape Cod were cloud to cloud strikes. And so there may be a little bit more lightning than is being shown here, but it's certainly a possibility. And any thunderstorm, whether it's severe or not, if it is producing lightning, is dangerous. So you want to make sure you're protecting yourself from that. So the tornado warning goes till 12:15. The extent of the rainfall is farther north. So perhaps if you are in, the Boston area even, you're getting the rainfall. But the concern is on Cape Cod, and we're focusing in on Cape Cod because of the potential for damaging winds and possible tornado shifting eastward. And the core of that is right here now, getting very close to Hyannis. It seems as though the strongest of the winds, focusing just south of Hyannis, really hugging the coastline at this point here, making its way on toward the east. So this is a particular area that is very populated. It's an area where a lot of people are at the end of July, and it is going to continue to shift eastward here over the next 5 or 10 minutes or so, and making its way on toward the east. So perhaps we can look to see if we have any new reports here, AJ, in terms of any damage at this point, because oftentimes we're seeing on radar potentially strong wind gusts and not as much in the way of damage. We have this one report right here. That was the wind gust to 69 miles per hour. Some new wind reports. South Mashpee has gusted to 51 miles per hour. And in Hyannis, where the core of those winds are passing right now, we've already measured a wind gust to 54 miles per hour. And as this core right here moves just south of Hyannis, I'm anticipating the winds are certainly much stronger than that, perhaps as high as radar has been estimating as 70 or 75 miles per hour. So some intense wind making its way across the Cape and likely going to be doing some damage. Erica?
All right, Cindy. Well, right now we have on the phone with us Lynn Poyant. She's with the town of Barnstable, so really kind of to the north there of Hyannis. Lynn, thanks for checking in with us. So it seems that you're probably to the north of the worst of it right now. What are you seeing?
Actually, we are looking out. We're in the basement, and we are looking out the window by the handicap entrance, and the wind has very much picked up. We're seeing some trees have been blown down, some of the smaller trees. I can tell you that at 11:36 this morning, our police department did a reverse 911 call to everyone, notifying them of the tornado warning and advising people to seek shelter immediately, reminding people that cars are not a safe place to be during an activity of this nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone on the road, the advice from MEMA as well is to look for the closest building and really get inside to the lowest point. So you're exactly where, of course, you should be, Lynn. Tell me about the situation that you were dealing with already with the severe weather that moved through. The concern is there is this heavy rain that's coming down, these very strong winds, and already the ground is saturated. So had you been dealing with any issues even before this moved in that now this may be compounding those problems?
I don't know what our DPW crews have been dealing with outside, but it's definitely within the past 5-10 minutes. It's dramatically the conditions have worsened.
Yeah,
and you can see the pickup of the winds because the rain is kind of like going around in circles.
Yeah, the wind we know in certain areas has even gusted up to 69 miles per hour, according to Storm Team 5. And at this point, the rain potentially could be falling up to 4 inches per hour. So are you just kind of gathered in the basement with everyone from the town? You're with community services, is that right?
Right. We are with we're moving away from the windows. It's my sorry.
No, you should get to where you need to be safe, and don't worry about us.
Okay, sorry.
Not at all.
The door just blew open is what it is. There's somebody here, though, so we want to let them in. I'm sorry.
No, why don't you let the people in? Please go and just get to safety in the most interior part of the room. Thanks for checking in with us.
All right, thank you.
You hear the emergency situation happening there. That was the town of Barnstable. What you'd expect is just really north of where the strongest part of the storm is right now. Correct, Cindy? Because they're really on the other side of the Cape, depending where that exact building is in the town of Barnstable. Barnstable County as a whole is really where people should be concerned, and that's a large swath of the Mid-Cape really moving up at this point, kind of toward Orleans, ultimately, it looks like the track is.
And they are included within the tornado warning, but as we zoom in really tight and we're concerned with that, tight coupling here where we think we would have the tornado, this is a clear sign on radar right here. I mean, you're talking about Barnstable being to the north, but if you look at the bright colors, these are still indicating very strong winds, and you heard her say the door blew open. Okay, so the potential for damaging wind gusts is well outside where we perhaps have an actual tornado occurring, but the strongest winds and perhaps the most damaging ones